Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I finally have another video for you all. But before we get started with today's battle, I just wanted to take some time to talk about what this channel is going to look like for the next couple of months now that Oris is out. So first of all, those games came out this past week, but we're still awaiting the VGC 15 rule set. We're not going to be switching VGC rule sets until January 1st, but Pokemon's most likely going to announce the rule set beforehand. So the day that is announced, I'm going to basically start all the content I have planned out. You know, just a sneak peek of what you should expect from this channel. It's basically going to be individual Pokemon analyses, similar to the couple I did last year, but I'm going to try to get one for every popular Pokemon, just to get, people started into VGC 15. I'm going to be making another video on how to get into VGC with the new rule set, attending tournaments, whatnot, and I'll be also making my own individual kind of analysis videos in terms of how I feel about the rule set, what I think can be good, and metagame updates throughout every month. So there's going to be a lot of content. We're starting new with the new rule set, and I'll be doing my best to help you guys get into VGC 15, whether you've played VGC before or you haven't. So it should be really exciting. But until the rule set is announced, I'm going to be doing daily uploads. That's right, I'm back with daily uploads, and I'll try my best to stick with that schedule, and I'll be uploading all the VGC 14 battles I have left until we finally get the new rule set. So you should definitely get excited for that. I still have a ton of great battles saved from this previous rule set, and we're still currently playing with the VGC 14 rule set at Premier Challenges all around the world, so it's not like this format's completely obsolete yet. It's actually pretty cool because the Oris move tutors are now allowed at Premier Challenges, so if you attend any now, you should know that you're allowed to use those move tutors. But anyway, that's enough. Hope you guys are excited for the future of this channel. There's going to be a lot of content, and let's finally get into today's battle. So last week I uploaded Game 1 against solariii in a best of 3 series. It was a pretty tight battle, but I ended up winning. So for Game 2, I decided I'd go with Salamence, Ludicolo, Rotom, and Mawile. He has Hydreigon, Venusaur, Gengar, and Zapdos, so he opted not to bring either of the fairy types from Game 1. And if you haven't watched that, you should definitely check it out. But he had Mega Mawile and Azumarill, and he didn't bring either. And so without further ado, let's just get into this battle. Now I know Ludicolo is a really excellent Pokemon in this matchup. It doesn't take much damage from his special attackers like Zapdos and Gengar, and Hydreigon because of the Assault Vest has Fake Out. He can, 2-hit or 3-hit KO anything on his team. So I decided that Ludicolo is definitely a safe lead here. I lead with Salamence and Ludicolo against his Zapdos and Gengar. Not the best matchup here for the Salamence, mainly because Salamence can get KO'd by HP Ice from that Zapdos. So I decided that I can still, have a safe play this first turn, just fake out the Zapdos and go for a Draco Meteor. He does go for the Shadow Ball into Salamence, not opting to protect Gengar, unlike the first game where he double protected. I do get that Draco Meteor off though against the Gengar, and that's really good. It's going to bring it down all the way to its Focus Sash. And, always trying to get rid of Gengar as quickly as possible, mainly because I've got that Mega Mawile in the back, and Gengar, of course, can threaten Mawile with the Will-O-Wisp. So on the first turn, kind of trade-offs in terms of damage. Now this next turn, I know I don't want Gengar getting KO'd, or excuse me, Salamence getting KO'd by Gengar, so I protect, and he does go for the Shadow Ball. Zapdos goes for the Thunder Wave, and I was anticipating that, but I figured even if Ludicolo was the slowest Pokemon on the field, it's still so bulky, but unfortunately it's going to be fully paralyzed this turn. I was going for the Scald onto the Gengar because I know Salamence outspeeds everything else on his team. So missing that KO was actually really big, and I'm already kind of upset about that. Here as Gengar goes for another Shadow Ball, this time into the Ludicolo slot, and his Zapdos opting to Thunderbolt, so interesting play there by him. I could have just stayed in with Salamence and gotten a KO, and unfortunately Ludicolo was fully paralyzed once again. So that's 2 turns I basically missed out with Ludicolo, and I really needed to KO that Gengar. This following turn, I'm expecting the Protect with Gengar, but I figure I should still try to target it down because it's the real threat to my Salamence. And for the 3rd turn in a row, Ludicolo is paralyzed, while Rotom blows its Thunderbolt in there. So things are not looking good for me whatsoever. I haven't been predicting his Protects very well. The Power Hacks is obviously getting to me, and I'm just losing all terms of momentum. Ludicolo is really the key to this matchup, and it hasn't done a single thing other than get a Fake Out. He gets another Thunderbolt and crits my Ludicolo this time while I Thunderbolt the Gengar slot, which Hydreigon comes into. And for the 4th turn in a row, Ludicolo is paralyzed. So that poor Ludicolo has been paralyzed 4 turns in a row and gets a critical hit to its face. And, I'm not mad about the luck itself. I think I'm just kind of stressed out because that Ludicolo was the key to this matchup. And you may be asking, why didn't you switch the Ludicolo out? Well, the main reason is I didn't really have much reason to. Even though it's fully paralyzed, it still gave my opponents a lot of trouble. So I figured if I could just keep it on, even get 1 or 2 Ice Beams off, it would be perfectly fine. But unfortunately, that was not the case. So here I bring back Salamence, knowing now I'm the fastest Pokemon on the field, and I'm expecting him to switch out the Hydreigon. But I was not expecting the Venusaur. I was actually anticipating his last Pokemon being Mawile, so when I saw the Venusaur, I was very surprised, and I knew that this battle would be very difficult, especially given how the first couple of turns played out. And that Thunderbolt's going to go into the Venusaur, but it's not going to do really anything, even with that critical hit. And at this point, I really have not much of a good shot of winning. I figure with Mawile in the back, there still might be a chance of squeaking through, but he's got a full HP Hydreigon, which is really scary. And here he's going to protect his Venusaur. I do anticipate the protect, but I think I could have probably been a bit smarter here and switched out the Salamence into Mawile. Instead, I was just kind of going for the damage, but you know, in the long term, I knew that I needed Salamence if I wanted a chance of beating Hydreigon. Otherwise, Hydreigon would beat Mawile and even Rotom Heat. But I did just go for the Draco Meteor there. It brings it down to around 25%, but the Zapdos even has the Citrus Berry, so I haven't been able to knock out a single one of his Pokemon, and he already takes out 2 knockouts as he KOs my Salamence with Thunderbolt. So, you know, things are just not looking good for me right now. There's not very much I can do. Even if I predict well every turn, he's still got that Hydreigon in the back. And at this point, it's really me trying to bait a mistake from him. If he plays the game perfectly, he's definitely got this one because the advantage is so large for him. But I'm not going to give up. I'm still going to go for it and see what I can do. I figure Mawile at this point probably wants to go for Rock Slides instead of single targets just to try to pick up KOs, especially if he switches out. You know, he's got that Gengar in the back, so if he switches out into Gengar, I'll be picking up a free KO there with Rock Slide. He goes for the Roost, probably anticipating a Protect from the Mawile, but that's good because I did not Protect. I do go for the Will-O-Wisp, and it does connect with the Mega Venusaur, so that's definitely a start to trying to get this comeback. He gets a Leech Seed off though, and that's pretty bad because it means he'll be healing every turn and taking Mawile's HP away. Mawile here goes for the Rock Slide, but that's not going to be super effective on the Zapdos because the Roost did remove the Flying type, but I do get a crit on the Venusaur, and that was a pretty big turn. I got a lot of damage off. He wasn't able to do very much. You know, the Zapdos basically ended up in the same position, got the burn on the Venusaur and got a crit, so I said to myself, maybe, you know, this is still winnable. He protects with Venusaur the following turn, but I do, you know, predict that. I actually went for the Sucker Punch with Mawile onto the Zapdos. I thought he would just go for the Thunderbolt this turn, and I do call it correctly. So suddenly, you know, things are kind of going back into my favor, but he's still got that Hydreigon out, and if he plays smartly with Hydreigon, he's basically got this in the bag. All he really actually needs to do is switch out Hydreigon, Fire Blast my Mawile. You know, even if I protect, he can just Fire Blast it again and KO it. So I know my chances of winning still here are slim, but I'm hoping, you know, maybe he misses a Fire Blast, but to my surprise, he actually brings out Gengar. Now, here I'm actually kind of anticipating Gengar to protect, and I say even if he doesn't protect, I'm just going to go for the Thunderbolt Rock Slide to try to pick up a KO on that Venusaur slot. He doesn't switch out, so he stays in, and he gets the Leech Seed off, but I know if I can hit this Rock Slide, I'll KO it and, you know, destroy his recovery. But I go for the Rock Slide, and it misses the Venusaur, so that was bad. Any chance of a comeback now, you know, even significantly slimmer. Venusaur is taking HP from both of my Pokemon, and I'm pretty bummed out about that. It was definitely a rough miss, but, you know, even if I hit that, Hydreigon still would have been able to probably seal it up. And at this point, my chances, I realize, are very, very slim. I'm not going to give up. I'm still going to try to see what I can do. Here I protect with the Rotom Heat. He protects with the Venusaur, which is a very smart play on his end. There's no reason not to protect there when you've got a double Leech Seed off. And he actually Shadow Balls my Mawile, which was an excellent, excellent play on his end. And he gets a critical hit to add insult to injuries. So now the game's basically over. There's nothing I can do, especially with the Hydreigon in the back. And he's going to take Game 2 in a pretty convincing fashion. But in retrospect, I know that I have Game 3 coming up in this best of 3 series. I know that even with 4, you know, paralysis, 2 critical hits, and a miss, I still didn't lose by that large of a margin. I don't think I played that well, and I kind of let my opponent overwhelm me. And you see another miss there with the overheat, though at this point it didn't matter. So I figure that even though the luck really wasn't in my favor here, and I didn't play that well, so if I can make the correct adjustments, I can probably outsmart my opponent in the final game. But he definitely takes a very convincing win there. It was very well played on his end, and unfortunately the Ludicolo was just absolutely worthless. And you see how useful Ludicolo would have been in this matchup. He's got 4 special attackers, no physical attackers, because he opted to leave out both Mawile and the Azumarill. So that was unfortunate, but not to take any credit away from my opponent because he played the better game. You know, I just kind of let the luck get to me. It's kind of what you run into when you let Ludicolo get paralyzed like that, and he definitely just played better as well. So I know I have to make the right adjustments going into Game 2. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that battle. Leave a like if you did, and of course I'll be doing daily uploads from today on with VGC 14 until the new rules come out, so stay tuned for that. Until then guys, I'll see you next time. Peace.